James, thank you so much for joining us today. For those listening, could you give us a little bit of an introduction as to your background and your connections to Cranley?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for having me this morning. So my story is, which I'm sure many people have heard, I was a teacher. I taught at Monkton Combe in Bath, where I was a housemaster at the senior school and was about to become headmaster of the prep school when I was diagnosed with a huge brain tumour at my medical for the job, so had I not got the job, I probably wouldn't be alive, which is quite an amazing thought. But anyway, two big operations, and the second one left me pretty much with no sight. So I couldn't run the prep school, which I was going to do. And since then, I've set up a charity called I Can and I Am, speaking to pupils, to staff, to parents, and in businesses as well, with my message of believing that everybody can and everybody is of value. And I've been to Cranley many times, and Cranley have been great supporters of all that I do and all that I say. So it's good to be back.
It's notable you recounting your own personal story in the last sort of 5 to 10 years, how much change there has been in your life. We are all recognizant that actually this period of lockdown has instigated a huge amount of change for everyone too. I wanted to begin by asking you, why do you think we struggle with change so much?
I suppose as I as I think about change, I I think there are kind of two elements of change. There's internal change and change within us, and then there's a change of outside circumstances. And the position we're in at the moment is the outside circumstances are very, very different to anything we've ever experienced before. And what that can often lead to is a change within us. We have to change. And we find change quite frightening. It's quite a confronting thing. It kind of shows up sometimes, the little gnarls and the sort of bits within us that aren't quite the way they should be. So the first thing with change is it can usher in a real fear and anxiety because we can't see as clearly. There's a loss of clarity and there's a loss of certainty. And I think that can unsettle, is forced upon us, and it is in this situation. And we've got to do our best not to have a fixed mindset and roll with the punches. And actually, it can avail and show us some real areas where we can grow as people.
You mentioned just now, James, that for some, change can instigate fear and anxiety. I wonder whether you had any tips as to how we can lessen that fear, lessen that anxiety?
Well, I think that I would want to use the word we can grow and improve as a result of it. So we might get the anxiety. We look at ourselves in the mirror. We go, "Oh, we don't like this. I don't like what's going on." But actually, it can be a seminal moment. And I wonder whether in 5 years' time we'll look back to this time and we'll say, "Wow, that's when I learned. That's when I went through. That's when I came to terms with those sorts of emotions." And they bring about growth. And I think that actually we've got to recognize that change is a part of life. And actually, in this situation, there's nothing that we can do about it. However powerful or however significant you are in the world, you have to bow down. COVID-19 has got us. And this is how we respond. And I think my response would be accept the change. And, I'm a great believer in that, that growth mindset, as you've heard me talk about before, of small steps. Nobody's asking us to totally change overnight, but if it requires us to take small steps, we take those small steps and we do change. That change will probably reveal a growth, an improvement, a progressing of us as people. And I think that is really good. One thing that, we all have to do is accept the reality of change. I was actually saying that to my mother, who's 80, last night on the phone. You have to change. You have to move with the times. And, you look at the sort of tech revolution and you look at all that's going on in the world. And, I don't think it'll be long before we're all microchipped and all that sort of stuff. It's quite big stuff that's happening in the world of tech.
Yeah.
And I think we're being a little bit sort of foolhardy if we just don't accept change.
And do you have any thoughts as to what it is within us that doesn't like change?
I think it is our longing for clarity, certainty, and control. And I think there's something within us that actually wants to feel that we've got the world under our control. And I've spoken before about my own personal faith, and I think this is where we actually need to quite quickly let go of the fact that we're in control, because we're not. And I think that letting go of control is actually no bad thing in the long term. But I think a lot of people like to have the world absolutely where they want it, and I don't think it is like that. I really don't.
I would absolutely agree with you there, James. We certainly don't have the world as we'd like it now, but that has been enormously helpful to talk to you about how we cope with the changes around us. So thank you.